So in this video, I'm going to show you how exactly Instagram can help you make money. Not just grow your following. How many followers do you have? It doesn't make any difference if you don't make money. So if you have 150,000 followers on Instagram, but if that's not driving your business, you're an Instagram influencer. So let's start creating a business here, guys, where Instagram is just a channel to communicate your value and grow your fan base, but it's also an opportunity to drive business, right? And I'm going to show you exactly how you do this. Before I get started, please subscribe to my channel if you want to see more music marketing related videos, just like this one. So there's essentially 3 goals to your Instagram and your social media channels. And when I say goals, I don't mean reach and your visibility. What do you want with this reach and visibility? What do you want out of it? So when I go into a business meeting, I always go in with an agenda in mind, with an end goal, right? So what happens in my meetings is that because I go in with a goal in mind, most people actually go in just winging it. They don't have an end goal in mind, and they're just happy to get the meeting in general. So what happens is the person that decides the end goal before you go into the meeting is the person that leaves that meeting with the end goal. Why is that? Well, what's happening here is that when you go into the meeting, you unconsciously are working towards that end goal because you're the only one that is working towards the goal. Everyone else is winging it, guys. And the same goes with your social media channels. So everyone else there is just winging their content, winging their activity. So you need to take a step back now. And there's essentially 3 things that you want to accomplish with your social media channels. And what are those? Number 1, of course, you need to grow your following, right? You need to grow your fan base. So grow your fan base. That means more followers. Followers, right? Then you also need to engage with them. You need to trigger engagement. You need to trigger that relationship and connection with them. So engagement. This is what in marketing terms you would call nurture them. So you attract attention, right? But then you need to nurture that attention. You need to give some value here, right? And then last, you want your channels to convert. You want them to actually drive your business, right? You want to make money. You're in here for the long term. You're in here to build a business around your music and your brand. So you want your social media channels to also help you convert business. Convert. So these 3 goals should essentially be what you should want out of your visibility. So what is social media? Well, so what you essentially have as a musician is that you have your music, right? And your music comes with a brand. That brand is you, your interest, what you have to contribute to the table here, right? Who you are, your values. So this usually sits on a website, right? So typically, you have a website where you present yourself as a musician, where you also have your merch, you have your tickets for, you can buy tickets to your concert, and you can actually make transactions. But you can also present value. There's so much to do on a website. However, a website doesn't really have a personality because the content there is static. So what you do, before we move over to that, you also have to communicate your music. You also have your Spotify, your streaming service, which are also important. Those are all music. Those are all important. for you as a musician as well. So your value as a musician is, of course, in your website, but also your streaming channels. So what these core channels, what they do not have is this personality and the ability to communicate your value with your fans. So you need social media for that. So what social media is going to allow you is to actually give personality to your value, to your music, to your brand. It's your voice. So what you do is that you maybe use Instagram for a way to communicate some value and interact with your audience. And you may use TikTok, too many K's there, to communicate maybe some other type of value and engage on another different, or maybe to another segment, who knows? And then you have Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. There can be several channels that you choose to interact with your fans. So essentially, all of these channels should help you, first of all, grow your fan base. Second, engage with them, give value. They have to get to know you, right? Engage. And then 3, convert. Well, how do you actually do this? Well, to get you to understand this, I'm going to take a step even further back. And let's go back to school, guys, because I need to teach you the basics here of how marketing works. So what we're going to talk about now is something called funnels. And you might have heard funnels before. You might have heard of this in marketing terms, and you might think, well, it's not relevant for me. I'm a musician. Well, it is relevant for you. And we're going to talk about something called the fan funnel. And what is the fan funnel? Well, basically, that is the journey that you want a fan to take to get to know you. That's really, really crucial to be in control of. Remember what I said about my meetings, right? If you know where you want them to go, and if you know that route and that journey, it's easier to lead them there, right? So you have an end goal with everything that you do. And the same way goes for marketing. You need an end goal with everything, with communication, with Instagram, end goal. So how is Instagram relevant to a funnel? Well, a funnel looks something like this. And what you have is you have different steps that you want your fan to take. The first step is they need to discover you. It's the discovery, right? So how do they discover you now? Probably through live shows. They're discovering you on social media and the activity that you're doing there. Maybe through influencers that you're partnering with. Maybe through streaming, whatever activities that you are doing here. And the key is activities, because you will do activities every week and every month that has to grow your following. So the first step here is to get new people to discover you, right? And then when they discover you, that's when they're in your funnel. That's when they just got started in your journey, right? So where do you want to take them after they have discovered you? Well, you need to start getting to know each other, right? So the next step is engage. This is where your casual fans are hanging out. This is where most of your fan base will hang out their whole lives. So what I mean by that, so this is where you get them to, 1, follow you, and then 2, listen to your music. So most people will follow you, enjoy your content, enjoy the value that you have to offer, and head over and listen to your music, stream it, and just be casual fans. And then you have the next step, which is an exciting step. And that is to convert them. You need to make them pay you. A transaction needs to happen, right? So you need to convert. And this needs to be dollar. You need to make money. So most of your casual fans will hang out there, but you need to create content and value and consistently always trying to convert them over to becoming paying customers, essentially. So when you have them here, they've gone to your show, they paid money, they bought your merch, they maybe bought some sample set from you. When they've actually made a transaction with you, they saw so much value in you and the engagement that you've already done and the interactions that you've done through your channels that they trust you at this point and want to make a transaction. So what you should do when you see that these fans, actually paying fans, are repetitively starting to pay you, they're going to more of your gigs, they want more of your content, you also need to retain them, right? This is an important step in your funnel. So if you've actually managed to drive traffic and drive your fans over to becoming paid customers repetitively, you have something called super fans. This is what most artists are thriving for, having these super fans that whenever you launch something, they always buy. That's the repetitiveness. And you know what? The amount of effort to get one person to buy is so much higher than to get an existing customer to buy more. So it's so much important, and it's so important to give value also to your super fans. And a good way of doing this is what deadmau5 has done with his subscription-based platform, where you as a super fan can get access to content and to get behind the scene and value consistently for $5 subscription per month. This is genius, right? deadmau5 has been able to monetize these different steps. And that's the next key to actually also make money out of the traffic that you're generating, right? So if you're serious about creating a business around your music, you need to set up a structure and plan around how people are going to discover you, how they're going to engage with you, what value you're going to give them consistently, how will you convert them, and how will you retain them as customers. So how will you do this? Well, basically, every week, you need to make a plan of what you have to do. And this is what I've done. I've set this up for you in my online course now. It's a structure, it's a plan, it's activities, it's strategies of exactly what you need to do and can do. All you can do is just follow it and be creative in the structure. Because it is a structure that you have to follow. It is consistency when it comes to these channels. Because if you don't have the consistency, if you don't have the plan, you have nothing to scale on, and you don't know if you're successful or not. And you don't know how to actually make money out of your activities. So every week and every month, you need to first and foremost grow your fan base, right? What activities are you doing to grow your fan base? Activities. On social media, that is typically your engagement. When you actually go in and communicate, when you go in through your hashtag, you grow it through influencers, through communication, partnership. You can also, as I mentioned, live gigs is a great way to also gain more social media followers. It's just being visible, right? So every week and every month, you need to have some activities that will grow your fan base. And what's fun is that when you start measuring these activities, you can then see, these activities work better than these. And then you can do more of the activities that work better, right? So what else do you need to do? 2, how do you engage and how do you convert? This is done through content, right? And there's a rule of thumb that with content on your channels, 80% have to be engaging. And God, there you go. Nope. My spelling is horrible sometimes. And then 20% converting. Most musicians spend all their time here. Listen to my song, me, 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 me. While you actually need to focus most of your time here. This is the type of content where people get to know you as a musician. This is the type of content where you share the process, where the end goal before you share it is just to engage, show your brand, show your process, educate. So when you have the consistent flow, 80% of your content being engaging and valuable, sharing your identity, sharing the different sides to you, preferably through videos, right? You're allowed to sell. Those 20%, you need to sell, because if you don't tell them what to do sometimes, they're not going to do it. If you just focus here and not tell them every once in a while to listen, go to Spotify and stream it, and if you don't tell them to buy a ticket to your show, they're not going to do it. But if you just tell them to listen to your song or your music and tell them what to do, they're going to get sick of you. They're not going to do it because you're not building trust. You're not building loyalty. You're not building your brand. You're not communicating with your community. But if you are doing that, you're allowed to sell. You have to sell. And that's also done through content. But when you start planning your week in advance, you need to plan what activities are you going to do to grow your fan base? What type of content will you make? So if you make 10 posts, 2 of that can be converting, while the rest have to share your identity, your process, who you're working with. There's so much to share here. But you need to find something, preferably also in a video format, that you can share consistently. Every week, guys. Think of something you can do every week. And if you have that consistency in your content, you're also allowed to drive sales. But if you don't have this, you can't sell. So essentially, making money online is just a formula. It really is. And the X factor is just the quality of the content. So it's just the quality of the activities that you do here, right? What are you doing actually to grow your fan base? The type of comments, which is essentially content as well, that you leave when you grow it through social media. What quality is it, right? And what quality is it of the content that you share here? Because the better quality, the more engaging it will be, and the more converting it will get. So you musicians, you guys have such a big advantage because you're already creative people. And you essentially just need a system, a structure to be creative in. And you just have to use your creativity a little bit differently than making music when you create content where you share your personality, your identity, the process